Hey guys, it's him and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on the 19th of October 2020 to talk about everything that went down tonight on Monday Night Raw. And I'm gonna be honest, I thought tonight's Raw was just an okay show. I didn't think it was anything special. If I'm really gonna be 100% honest, and that doesn't look good. You know, tonight's Raw had a number of things advertised, and a few things were okay and went well, but it's like most of the stuff tonight, it was just meh, bland, whatever. And I could say I expected more from the quote-unquote season premiere of Monday Night Raw, but could I have expected more? I don't really know, but with that, I want to say thank you guys for joining me here tonight, twitch.tv/PWUnlimited. Remember, if you're here, you can support us here on Twitch a couple of different ways, either with some bit donations or with a tiered subscription. Or not even just tiered, any subscription. Tiered subscription or Amazon Prime subscription. Because if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. I'm all flustered right now because of Prime Gaming. You get to subscribe to any one Twitch channel that you want to subscribe to throughout the month, and I would greatly appreciate it if that one subscription that you use your Amazon Prime on was us here at Pro Wrestling Unlimited. I would greatly appreciate that. And remember, for the foreseeable future, all money we do make here on Twitch, whether that is donations, bits, or subscriptions, will be going to help families in need of the Creek Fire. Families that have either lost their homes, lost parts of their homes, or just been displaced and can't go back to their home at the moment because of the fire, and they're living somewhere else that's not their normal home. We want to buy supplies for those families that are in need and bring those to them once we do have enough to distribute. So again, every little bit does help, whether that's a bit, a donation, or a subscription. All money made here on Twitch for the foreseeable future will go to families in need that have been, I guess you could say, affected by the Creek Fire here in Central California. I know people personally that I grew up with that have been affected, and I just want to give back. But with that, we're here to talk about Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw started off with something new, a new theme song. I guess it's called The Search by NF. This was the same song that was used during the Bianca Belair vignette that they aired on SmackDown. So that's cool. The announcers then ran down tonight's show, including the Viper's message from hell, which meant that Randy Orton would basically give some sort of a promo from inside Hell in a Cell. Alexa Bliss then appeared in the ring, and the lights were red. She announced, "Sure." Thank you, Amazon Echo. She announced, "He is here," or "He's here. Let him in." The Fiend then entered into the ring. The two then put their hands up and held hands. They held hands. And then just stood there as Retribution came out. They stood there stone-faced, just looking at the camera. And I'm shocked Alexa didn't break, as Retribution is circling them in the ring. And she's just standing there, stone-faced. Bray is a little more easy for him to whatever because he's got a mask on. The lights then go out. All of a sudden you hear, "Whoa, where'd they go? Where are they?" Come back on, and, well, Alexa and Bray are gone. Or Alexa and the Fiend. Alexa and the Fiend are gone, and out come the Hurt Business for an 8-man tag team match. But before that match can start, there was a brawl. Then we get a Matt Riddle video package, and then the match begins. Hurt Business were in control of Slapjack early on, and Alexander was then distracted by TBar and Mace outside of the ring. Slapjack yanked him off the top and tagged in, and Ali worked him over. There was a face-off between the two teams at one side outside the ring. The Fiend then suddenly appeared on the screen. A little creepy music played. He stuck his tongue out. Nobody looked at the screen, and they went to break. John Phillips said the two teams have been fighting throughout the break. And I'm like, well, they should be. I hope they don't just stop fighting and then go on their merry way when you say, "Hey, we're back." Shelton Benjamin gave Mace a German suplex and a step-up knee. Lashley followed with a spinebuster before spearing TBar, and Ali broke up the cover. Lashley put TBar on the hurt lock, and he tapped out. And I go, okay, wow. They beat TBar. They didn't even, beat Slapjack. No, they beat TBar, which was a shock. The lights turned red, and the Fiend appeared on the apron. Took out each member of Retribution. TBar saved Ali from his sister Abigail. Wyatt then gave TBar his sister Abigail instead. Bliss appeared on the screen and said, "Let him in the Wyatt creepy voice, and then laughed. They're doing something with Retribution and Bray and Alexa, but I don't know what yet. I really don't know what. And this isn't the last time that we saw either duo group deals. Next up, we had a nice 11-minute match. That first match should go 10 minutes or so. This match went about 11 minutes. It was AJ Styles versus Matt Riddle. And what the hell happened here? AJ got himself a heavy. AJ got himself a diesel. We got the big, what's his name? Jordan Amagben, I think is how you say it. AJ Styles entered with Jordan Amagben. Jordan looked especially gigantic next to AJ. No offense, AJ. I mean, Jordan Amagben's 7'3", AJ's like 8'9", or not 8'9". Jordan Amagben's 7'3", AJ's like 5'9", 5'10", my height. I'm like 5'10", 5'11". And Styles commended Raw for finally drafting a real leader. And I'm like, oh, you're happy you're on Raw? Because just about 5 months ago, you were begging to go to SmackDown when you were on Raw. And now you're back and you're like, okay. So, I don't know. AJ bragged about beating Seth Rollins and Jeff Hardy. He said that this was never Monday Night Rollins and called this a new era that belongs to him. Matt Riddle entered, fireworks and all, kicked off the sandals. They showed a slow-mo replay, and the bell rang. The match started off, but Amagben wouldn't leave the ring. The referee told him to leave before the 5 count or Styles would be disqualified. Amagben stopped him from counting. The ref pleaded with him to leave the ring. Styles thought this was amusing. Amagben left the ring. Riddle sent Styles to the outside and was about to attempt something, but Amagben stepped in his way, which caused him to frantically scamper back into the ring. Basically, Riddle was scared of this bro. As the Riddle would say, bro, a little scary. Styles in control here after a commercial break. Riddle came back some strikes and a T-bone suplex, but Styles got to his feet and hit a senton. No, got to his feet on a senton attempt. They exchanged strikes until Riddle hit a German. Styles followed with a fireman's carry, neck breaker, and got a near fall. Riddle came back with the fisherman buster for a 2. They fought while standing on the top rope until Styles fell into the ring and Riddle fell on top of him. Amagben walked up to Riddle and clenched his fist. Riddle slipped back in the ring where Styles gave him an enziguri and a Styles Clash to pick up the victory. This felt very weird, very comical, and not of the, I guess you could say, caliber of what you would expect from a AJ Styles Matt Riddle match. I expected a banger when they announced this match on social media. But then when I saw this guy come out and I saw what they did, and I went, oh my God. If this is not what they're doing with AJ now, please no. Please don't make this what they're actually doing with AJ now. I beg of them. Because this was awful. There was a Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton video package to hype up their match. Like Russo then attempted to interview Drew McIntyre. And McIntyre started talking and says, Charlie, you mind if I just take this? He's like, I want to talk to Randy one-on-one. She's like, sure. He said, throughout his career, especially over the past few months, Orton has been the evil, sadistic, entitled, and selfish person in WWE. McIntyre knew he should have left Orton in his past when he beat him at Clash of Champions. Orton was intelligent, knew that he'd react when he attacked the legends. McIntyre knew that Orton thrived inside Hell in a Cell, a match he's never been in himself. And I'm going to talk about it later. I was shocked to hear how many matches Randy's had inside the cell. McIntyre said that he's been in more hell in his life than you can imagine and would put Orton through hell on Sunday. McIntyre warned Orton not to be surprised if he shows up during Orton's scheduled speech later on in the night. Next up, we had Asuka versus Lana for the Raw Women's Championship. Match literally went less than 2.5 minutes. Lana got some brief offense in early and a 2 count, but Asuka won easily with the Asuka lock. And yeah, that was it. Asuka got tapped out. 2 minutes and 20 seconds into this match. Nia Jax's music hit. As soon as the match ended, Jax and Baszler would come down. They knocked down Asuka before Jax put Lana through the announce table for the 5th time in as many weeks. Baszler went after Asuka, but Asuka fought her off, kicked her, knocked her down, knocked her out of the ring, running hip attack, and Asuka fled. Posed at the top of the ramp as Jax and Baszler looked on. Again, it was like 3 matches in a row where bullshit happened. Just utter what the hell. Jax and Basil then cut a promo after the break. Jax noted how well they worked as a team despite not being the type to braid each other's hair, follow each other on Instagram, or any of the sort. Baszler called them the dominant team on both brands. Jax dared anyone to come out and challenge them. And then we get the first of 2 times where they say, "Fuck the draft!" So Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke enter. Saxton wasn't sure this was the right time to step up to the champions, and Samoa Joe let him know, well, there isn't many other opportunities you're going to get, so this is the exact right time, Byron. All of a sudden, Lacey Evans would come out, and we go, Lacey? Who's she teaming with? Oh, I know. Peyton Royce would come out, and it's just like, you just broke up Peyton and Billy, the Iconics. Put Peyton with Lacey Evans? What? No frickin' way. They walked down together, but Evans kept stepping in front of her. So I don't know exactly what that meant. They all get in the ring. There's 3 teams, and all of a sudden you hear Lacey, never mind. All of a sudden you hear the Riott Squad music. And yes, Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan would enter the ring, and I'm like, they're SmackDown wrestlers. They can't be here. And Byron literally goes, oh, the Riott Squad taking advantage of one last time they can come on Monday Night Raw. And I go, what? Who said that? When was that a thing? Who said that was legal? I mean, we saw another instance where one guy should have been there with his buddies, but couldn't, so he was on the big screen. And another time, one guy was there when he shouldn't have been because he's a SmackDown wrestler, but wore a mask to hide his identity. Anyways, we got a fatal 4-way match, and then the match starts off. So it's Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce, Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan. Match starts off, and I think Joe says something about the titles being on the line, and that one team may end up becoming new champions. And then Tom Phillips is like, well, no one ever actually said the titles were on the line. They just said that this was an open challenge. They never said it was an open challenge for the titles. And Joe's just like, nonetheless, we got 4 teams in here trying to get an advantage and trying to get an opportunity. And I'm just like, yeah, these goddamn announcers don't know what's going on. So as Jax, Baszler, Rose, and Brooke brawled on the outside, Royce knocked everyone down with a dive. Evans followed with a dive herself, which barely connected. Ruby and Morgan also hit dives on the pile. I think this match went like 8.5 minutes. Everyone traded moves for a few minutes. The Riott Squad almost had Evans beat after a codebreaker Riott kick combo, but Baszler broke up the cover. Baszler choked out Ruby as Jax gave Evans a Samoan drop for the pinfall victory. Yes, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler did win, basically saying, there's no team that can beat us because we just beat 4 teams at once. It's just like, hey, these are all the teams that we've got. Let's just make them all look like Garbo in one quick shot. Like, what other teams do you have for the women? I don't know. Next up, we got the Elias Concert, full band and all. He plugged his album coming out next Monday. He said he's going to play his first song, Amen, and he hoped that Jeff Hardy was watching. Elias basically played the whole song. They get to fans on the screen, many of whom held their cell phones up as lights, which is kind of cool. Elias played a short song called Lead Me Home. He thanked the audience for saying, I love none. And then he thanked the audience. He goes, oh, thank you guys for being here tonight. I love none of you. And then hands his guitar to a guy where we only see his arm. And my first thought was, oh, that's Jeff Hardy. Like, if you're not going to show the whole guy, it's got to be the guy that you're feuding with. He was about to leave. Turns around and goes, no. I want to make the fans happy. You guys want an encore, don't you? And he's like, hey, can I have my guitar back? Hello? And you hear, cool guitar riff. And he's like, oh, Mr. Show Off there. Stop. Turns around, takes his hoodie off, pulls his mask down. It's Jeff Hardy. Jeff swings an electric guitar at Elias. Elias ducks. Jeff hits the microphone stand. And Elias runs off, and Jeff just yells, I didn't hit you with that car. And Elias fled. I was like, okay. They played Jeff's music, and that was it. Miz and Morrison were backstage. They were just chit-chatting, talking about Otis and Mandy, when Tucker would interrupt. He claimed that Miz used his influence with the USA Network to get him and Rose drafted away from Otis. Tucker said he would find a partner and ruin them tonight. Miz and Morrison accepted the challenge. They laughed maniacally at the idea of Otis finding a partner on short notice on Monday Night Raw. Also, guys, remember, if you want to be part of tonight's show, you can do so by texting in to 510-906-1341. Again, that number is 510-906-1341. The number is in the live chat, and we'll be scrolling down here periodically throughout the show. Charlotte Russo caught up with Elias backstage, that he couldn't believe that people were still interrupting him, which is kind of the Elias thing. He then challenged Jeff Hardy to a match this Sunday at Hell in a Cell. Spoiler alert, that match is happening. Jeff Hardy accepted the challenge on Raw Talk. So next up, New Day will come out and cut a promo. We do know that Kofi will be taking on Sheamus. Kingston said New Day were the Raw Tag Team Champions for the first time in nearly 4 years. Xavier said he got injured last year, and 2020 has been a garbage year. And he returned just for them to get drafted away from Big E. Kingston got him to calm down. Sheamus would interrupt. He called their segment on SmackDown embarrassing and threatened to brogue kick Kofi Kingston. He said that they were only 2/3 of the New Day. Kingston said New Day wasn't done. Big E could hold things down on the blue brand all by himself or with them by his side and do the things that he needs to do while they're on the Raw brand. They said that they would spread their seeds all over WWE. Sheamus told them to shut up before they reminded him that he got beat up by Big E. They were basically like, didn't you get put through a car windshield? They said that, but wasn't E the one that went through the windshield? I can't remember if they both did or not. Woods then told him to come to the ring to get beat up by Kofi. The match starts and we see that, hey, Big E is there. Technically, on one of the screens. It was a cool way to say that Big E was there for Kofi, but he didn't have to be on Monday Night Raw, which was nice to see. Because if you're not drafted to the brand, you shouldn't be coming to the show. Or at least appearing on the show. We get a 13-minute match here as the third hour starts. Sheamus was in control after the break. It was like, we'll go to break like less than 2 minutes in. Where was I? Kingston hit a foot stomp, chops, and a drop kick. Clothesline, leg drop, flying crossbody. Only gets 2 off of all of it, trying to get a comeback here. Sheamus caught him off the top and hit a swinging side slam for a 2. Kingston tried a drop kick, but Sheamus caught him and applied a Texas Cloverleaf. Kingston countered into a small package for a 2. Sheamus ducked a Trouble in Paradise and hit an Alabama Slam for a 2. Samoa Joe wondered how much Kingston had left. Woods yelled, he's got a lot left, Joe! Which I thought was just hilarious and was perfect for New Day. It was just perfect because Joe's just like, I wonder how much that Kofi Kingston's got left. And you just hear Woods, he got a lot left, Joe! I thought that was just great. And yeah, my impressions of both of them were bad. The funny thing was, that Woods heard him on the other side of the ring too, which just tells you how empty that Thunderdome probably is while they're wrestling. They don't hear the crowds. But I digress. Sheamus went to the top, but Kingston brought him down with a side rush and leg sweep for a 2. Woods then yelled, "New moves! New moves!" They exchanged cradles for a 2 count before Kingston caught Sheamus with the Trouble in Paradise and pinned him in the middle of the ring. I expected some sort of a challenge here by a new tag team or a tag team that, something to further them as tag team champions. No, just a singles match by one half of the tag champs against a guy that doesn't have a tag partner, and they beat him. So I don't know what this is supposed to lead to, but the match itself was a great match. I really enjoyed this. I think this was, as far as matches go for the night, my favorite match of the night. Also, we did see Mark Henry in the Thunderdome crowd as well. They replayed Retribution losing and getting beat up earlier in the night. Mustafa Ali then cut a promo. Ali cut a promo backstage with Retribution standing behind him. It was only the 4 key members, TBar, Slapjack, Mace, and Reckoning. No retaliation, which was supposed to be not Mia Yim. Mia Yim was there. No retaliation, which was supposed to be Mercedes Martinez. Ali said that Hurt Business and Wyatt made mistakes, thinking his only strength was strength in numbers. His real strength was causing chaos. Ali said that all he needed was a laptop or a cell phone or a secret. And with one click, he can make anyone's world come crumbling down. Ali sat at home, he said, for over the whole summer because people in this corrupt company couldn't figure out how to make money with a guy named Mustafa Ali. But he didn't just sit home and watch. He watched all of these spineless wrestlers backstab each other just to get ahead while he learned all of their secrets. Ali then said, "You remember that little hacker on SmackDown? That was me." He figured out that this sick place is infecting everyone with greed and corruption. Good individuals were being forgotten, and their dreams were being left behind. But he found them and united them. He promised them that their truth would be heard. They didn't care who tried to stop them. He said, quote, "We will shut you up." So this was a great promo by Ali. Ali's just performance, delivery, it was all, that couldn't have been better. I thought it was perfect. Perfect with the capital P. Hurt Business then stood shoulder to shoulder backstage, happy about their work earlier tonight when they were approached by Titus O'Neil. Titus congratulated them on their work and said, "Hey, I want to join the Hurt Business. We both, have similar, what's the word he said? Similar things in common. I look the part, like, ooh. So you can only join the Hurt Business if you're African American? Is that what you're saying? It's not like Owen Hart joining the Nation. Can't get a non-African American, a Caucasian male in the Hurt Business. Anyways, MVP said, "Yeah, we got to think about this." Looked around. We thought about it. And Titus was like, "That was quick, so I can join?" Like, I think you're wrong. And then Cedric punched the crap out of him, and they beat him down. Miz and Morrison entered the ring for their upcoming match. They wanted to know who Tucker's partner would be. Tucker entered and said, "I scoured the globe and found a great luchador to be my partner." And Morrison goes, Scour the globe that quick? We only challenged you minutes ago." And he's like, "I scoured online." And my first thought was just like, God, this is going to be awful. You scoured online and got a guy here that quick. Yeah, I'm going back to Big E. Don't use logic. It's WWE. Now would come none other than El Gran Gordo. And Miz goes, I ain't dumb. That's Otis in a mask." And they're like, "No, it's not. It's El Gran Gordo." Miz goes, "He's got the lunchbox. That's Otis under a mask. Why do you guys even, what, huh?" Tucker said that this guy was going to be the next Rey Mysterio. And my first thought was, Miz is getting on Otis for coming here under a mask just so he can be with Tucker. Miz, you're the guy 10 years ago that pretended you were the Calgary Kid under a mask to win a contract on a pole match to get your job back. So Miz should be the last guy trying to throw shade at Otis being there under a mask and lying about his identity when he did it a decade ago. Just saying. So, where was I? Tucker said that he'd be the next Rey Mysterio. Miz cut them off and cut a long promo until he called Otis a pig in a mask. Tucker and Otis then attacked and cleared the ring. We then got a 4.5 5-minute match. Tucker and El Gran Gordo against The Miz and Morrison. And here's another instance of fuck the draft. He's just going to have Otis on the show? Yeah, no, my bad. El Gran Gordo on the show? This is garbo. El Gran Gordo made a hot tag early on, gave Miz an arm drag before doing a cartwheel. Truth all of a sudden then just ran into the ring. I think Lucha House Party, Kira Tozawa and Gulak were chasing him. Gran Gordo then used the distraction to hit the Caterpillar on Miz. Vader bomb and pin him for the victory. New Day, Tucker, El Gran Gordo all danced backstage and celebrated. Mandy then handed Gordo I think it was a ham. And they all celebrated. And I was just like, why do we have a draft? Why do we have a draft if people are not even sticking to their brand? Because then we're going to get, how much you want to bet we're going to get some 5-on-5 for the men, 5-on-5 for the women, and Liv and frickin' Ruby are going to be on the women's team for SmackDown. Well, all they want to do is be on Raw because they showed up here on Raw after being drafted. I hope everybody that showed up tonight that wasn't supposed to be on Raw gets fucking fined. That's what they need to do. You break the rules. You show up on a brand you're not supposed to be on as far as trying to compete. Fuck you, fine $10,000. Do it. I dare them. They won't do it because they don't care about the draft. Fuck the draft. Next up, we get the Firefly Fun House. Wyatt tossed out props from his past, including a miniature mallet and a black sheep mask. He was sad to leave his friends on SmackDown, but was happy to make new ones on Raw. Rabbit mentioned having a wife, and Wyatt was confused. Rabbit was sad that he didn't know. Wyatt promised to be better to his friends. There were a lot of black and white montages of a rabbit getting eaten and destroyed throughout the show's history. Wyatt said, the past was in their heads, but the future was in their hand. The rabbit was happy to get a fresh start, but was eaten again by the buzzard. Someone then knocked on the door. And it was none other than Alexa Bliss, basically wearing her Freddy Krueger outfit. She said, their fun was just getting started. Everyone was happy, and they waved, goodbye, bye. It's a fucking Firefly Funhouse segment. What do you expect? We then get the main event match of the night. Braun Strowman versus Keith Lee in a match that counts. Gotta remember that, ladies and gentlemen. Match goes 2.5 minutes, maybe 3 at most. Strowman was in control and ran over Lee on the outside. He tried to power slam in the ring, but collapsed because of the injuries he sustained at the hands of Roman Reigns last week on SmackDown. Lee hit a splash for a near fall. Strowman took a page out of Roman's book and used an accidental low blow as Lee tried to pick him up from the mat, but Strowman headbutted him low. Strowman followed this up with a running big boot and pinned him to pick up the victory. As Strowman celebrated, Lee just got to his feet. Basically, I don't want to say no-sold it because he was down long enough to get pinned, but as soon as that pin was over, popped right up, took down Strowman, low blowed him, kicked him right in the nuts. Lee yelled at him for taking the shortcut. You took the shortcut against the wrong man. We see Ric Flair and JBL shown in the crowd. Booker T was shown earlier, I believe, as well. This was garbage. This was bad. This was not good. So, we then get Randy Orton. with about 6 minutes left in the show, coming down, sells down, locks himself in. Orton noted all of the promos that suggested that those who enter Hell in a Cell always leave a piece of them behind. Orton had, and I didn't realize this. This would be Orton's 8th Hell in a Cell match. I thought it was only like number 4. Because the only ones I can remember were the Daniel Bryan one, the Jeff Hardy one, and the there was one more that I remembered that the John Cena one. Apparently he said he faced John twice in Hell in a Cell. I don't remember that. I remember he faced him once. I don't remember him facing Sheamus inside Hell in a Cell. I don't remember him facing Mark Henry inside Hell in a Cell, as he noted. And then did he face Undertaker in Hell in a Cell, didn't he? Randy Orton, Undertaker, Hell. Yeah, he faced Undertaker in Hell in a Cell. But I remembered the John Cena one, the Daniel Bryan one, and the Jeff Hardy ones. I couldn't remember any of the other ones, so I was like, oh, this will be his 4th Hell in a Cell. And then they're like, this will be Orton's 8th time inside the cell. And I'm like, oh, fuck. But Randy Orton recalled all of his past Hell in a Cell matches, like facing a Hall of Famer in Mark Henry, surviving the beatdown of Sheamus, beating Jeff Hardy, Daniel Bryan, John Cena twice, and winning the world title twice inside the cell. The most important thing he remembered was looking the dead man in the eyes and earning his respect inside this cell. He said all of those men were current and future Hall of Famers. He said the word legend gets thrown around a lot these days and called McIntyre's win over Brock Lesnar legendary. As he spoke, McIntyre interrupted. McIntyre couldn't get in the cage because Orton locked it. Orton taunted him like, you can't get in here, blah, 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 whatever kind of deal. McIntyre then pulled out some bolt cutters from behind the barricade. Just randomly placed there. It's like the old question, why do you put chairs and tables and kendo sticks under the ring? Just in case you need them. Orton began to panic. Orton grabbed a steel chair as McIntyre cut the chain. He entered the cell, and as soon as he did, the show just went off the air. Nothing. Nada. Zilch. He does all that to get inside the cage. He's got bolt cutters. He's going to scare Orton because he's coming in, and then he just stares at him. You couldn't stare at him from outside the cage? And my first thought was, okay, Raw Talk's going to start. We're going to get something like, look what happened as the show went off the air. Cage was still down, or the cell, was still down. And it's empty. They're gone. It's just Charlie Caruso and R-Truth at ringside doing Raw Talk. Yeah. I don't know what that segment was supposed to be. Was it supposed to hype me up for this match? Because it didn't. The only match I'm hyped up for at Hell in a Cell is Jey Uso and Roman Reigns, because I think they're going to have a great I Quit match inside the cell. We've seen both men inside the cell. We know both men are not afraid to use kendo sticks inside the cell. Hope they do some kendo stick shots to both guys. But with that, that was Monday Night Raw. Pretty bland show. Believe they went up against 2 football games tonight. That's going to hurt them, even though it was the season premiere. Well, let's see what you guys had to say about tonight's Monday Night Raw. Also, I forgot to run a poll. We'll run a poll here in our last few minutes of the show. Let's throw that poll up right now. What did tonight's Raw? Liked it. It was all right. I didn't like it. I will run that for about 5 minutes or so. Start the poll. And while we wait for that poll to subside, we'll check out your text messages. Now, Dan the Man says, the only match I'm looking forward to is Bayley Sasha Banks. I am looking forward to that in a way as well. But I'd say I'm more intrigued in Roman and Jay. Because it's just like, I hope there's a finish in Bayley Sasha. That's been dragged out for so long, I don't even know what to think. This person here says, I read somewhere that tonight was a official face turn for The Fiend. Your thoughts? You can say that because he took out a heel team, but that's really subject to opinion. I don't know where you, quote-unquote, read that. So if anyone's saying that was the, quote-unquote, official face turn, there's never really an official face turn for a character like The Fiend. He just sometimes does things against heels and sometimes does things against baby faces. He's always going to be an in-between guy, what they call a tweener, but he's never going to actually be a baby face. He's more than likely, if he's going to be one or the other, it's more than likely going to be a heel, but The Fiend will never be, in my opinion, an actual full-fledged baby face, because he'll eventually end up tagging. I wouldn't be surprised next week if he takes out some heel or some baby face. I mean, he's taken out heels more than baby faces anyways in the past. But this text message here says, do you think Retribution is DOA, dead on arrival, given how they lost their first match with Ali revealed as the leader? I mean, this wasn't good. I don't know if they're DOA, but this wasn't good at all. To beat them in their first official match as a full squad, and then have them all get just destroyed by one man. Now, if they got beat by the Hurt Business and then beat up again after, that'd be one thing. But they got beat up by one fucking guy. One. After the match. So that's garbage. Also, I don't know if I mentioned, Jeff Hardy, I probably said this already, but Jeff Hardy did accept the challenge by Elias on Raw Talk for their match. So their match will be taking place this Sunday at Hell in a Cell. The person says, why give AJ a bodyguard? He doesn't need one. He's not bad on the mic or anything. Well, first off, that's irrelevant. It doesn't have anything to do about the mic, because this guy ain't going to speak. He's never going to say a word. I take that back. He might say a couple words, but he's not a manager. If you need someone that can't talk, you can do a manager, not a bodyguard. But AJ doesn't need a bodyguard unless they want him to be a chicken shit heel. It really just doesn't make any sense to me. But with that, guys, that's going to wrap things up here. Our poll is about finished. Let that go for another minute or so as we look over. And we got one more text message here if it does want to load. Come on. You can do it. Sometimes they want to load, sometimes they don't. Excuse me. Here we go. This person says, with 3 Hell in a Cell matches this coming week at Hell in a Cell and not much more announced, do you have any predictions on what other matches you think we will see at the pay-per-view? That's a good thing to think about. Because we know the 3 Cell matches. We know of Jeff Hardy versus Elias, but do we know of anything else for Hell in a Cell? I don't think so. I would have thought they would have built something up tonight, maybe a U.S. title match. Maybe Ali earning that, but no. I would have thought maybe we got something with the tag titles and a tease for a tag title match at the pay-per-view. No. Like, literally, Raw's got 2 matches, and that's it. And there's no more Raw before the pay-per-view. SmackDown's got 2 matches, but they've got one more show to add stuff. I don't know what the hell we're doing as far as add matches to the pay-per-view. Also, I want to answer Drawnan's question here. He says, who you got for the Final Four for NASCAR? Well, I had a Final Four set before fucking Joey Logano won the race yesterday. He was not my Final Four, but now when you look at the Final Four, it's obvious who it's going to be. It's going to be Kevin Harvick. It's going to be Danny Hamlin. It's going to be Chase Elliott. It's going to be Joey Logano. Unless somebody else wins next week, then that bumps Chase. Somebody else wins after that, then that bumps Denny. But if nobody else other than those 3 guys, Denny, Chase, or Harvick win, then they'll be in the Final Four as well. I expected Brad Keselowski and not Joey Logano to make it into the Final Four. So anything can happen. It's the NASCAR playoffs, as we saw yesterday, and Kevin Harvick said it. Hey, Joey Logano didn't have the better car. He's just a really good blocker. Our poll subsided. 62% of you, 62% of you said that you thought Raw was all right. 38% of you said I didn't like Raw, and 0% said you liked it. Damn. But with that, that's going to wrap things up here. Thank you for joining me here, twitch.tv/PWUnlimited. Have a great night, guys, and we'll see you Wednesday for NXT and AEW. Have a good one.